Hello and welcome. My name is Rich and this is DCUO. The character I'm playing as... Ooh, that's a good shot in it. The character I'm playing as is Jokandroid 9000, who is an electricity and dual pistols villain. I'm playing the villain side. Mostly out of curiosity, really. I mean, that's the real thing that's keeping me going. I'm not enjoying the gameplay. I'm the sort of weirdo whose escapist power fantasies involve consequence-free helping people, not hurting them. Every mission I've done here, well, so there are two types of mission. One is a mission that matches up with the hero side, and so I know that heroes will come in and fix things, undoing what the villains have done. The other type is missions that don't match up with anything that happens on the hero side. So I know that whatever the villains have gotten away with won't be fixed, or, well, maybe mopped up by one of the lesser organizations like the Sentinels of Magic or the Science Police or something like that, or Star Labs, which is a bit reassuring. But I mean, in some cases I would prefer, like one of the things we did a couple of sessions ago was release Eclipso. I would have quite liked for heroes to come in and stop that. Unfortunately, that would prevent a later hero event from happening, where Eclipso messes with the Spectre. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. I mean, if you stop all villain activity, then you don't really have a game, I suppose. After a certain point, you still need bad things to happen for the heroes to come in and do good things. Anyway, I'm not really liking the fact that the villains get away with as much as they do. I don't really enjoy doing villainous things. I'm kind of separating my consciousness out a bit and sort of compartmentalizing it such that the character I'm playing as, Jokandroid 9000, is actually an android built by T.O. Morrow for the Joker, in the Joker's image, as you can tell. And doesn't actually have any free will, and as such he's not really, like, he's a tool. He's not choosing to do these things. He doesn't have any free will. He's just doing as he's told.
This is Lex Luthor, and we have an opportunity. The OMAC virus is a deadly threat that must be met with equal force. But the mind deploying the OMACs is a valuable resource. It's called Brother Eye, and it's a downed satellite created by Batman to store data on superhuman threats. Information like that I can use. For now, take out the drones and steal their memory cores. Let's see what we can find.
Lex is such a knobhead. Of course he would consider this to be an opportunity. Weird trope in DC. Oh, welcome, by the way, Mahawkman. Nice to see you along. It's been a few days. A few sessions, I think. It's a weird trope in DC. Characters rarely get written out of the story, and thus the criminals don't get punished properly. Yeah. I mean, see, I've read stories. I've read a few superhero stories where the heroes just kill the villains so that they can't continue hurting people. And one of them just felt like a soap opera. This is Invincible by Image Comics. And I kind of... The main character moved off of Earth, and I've kind of lost interest in that. And the other is The Authority by Wildstorm Comics. Wildstorm was initially a separate imprint from DC, was bought out by them, and then a lot of their intellectual properties were either folded into DC or dropped, kind of written, like wound down and written out, which is a bit of a shame. There was some very good, certainly I enjoyed a lot of Wildstorm stuff. There was a lot that was also kind of terrible, but Invincible, that one has so many plot elements that make the name of comic a joke. Yeah. There was enough in Invincible for at least the first, like, 10 or so volumes. I don't know how many issues that would be, for me to be interested in. I quite liked a lot of stuff that Invincible did, hence I read for so long. But yeah, there was just... It was when he went back in time and then refused to stay in that continuity and went back to the point that he'd left, Back to the Future. That was when it lost me, because the main character Invincible, whose civilian name I can't remember, found on an alien planet some kind of like blue glowy weird shit that communicated with him and sent him back in time to the day that his powers manifested. And in this alternate timeline, he was able to avert a bunch of stuff, save a lot of lives, and generally bring about a better timeline. He doesn't get with the person he ends up marrying in that version, at least not immediately. And when he realizes that in this second timeline, the child he would have been having in the first timeline wouldn't get conceived, causes him to freak out, go nuts, and refuse to continue with the second timeline, insisting on being sent back to the first timeline. When he gets back, he finds that the same amount of time that he spent in the alternate past has passed in the future, so he's missed his child. Well, he was there for his child being born, but she was only like a few months old, if that, when he went back in time. He spent like more than a year in the past, and so he missed a bunch of his child growing up. Like, I don't know whether being a parent makes you go insane in an unusual way, but like, this alternate past was obviously happening. It was a real place, it wasn't an illusion. You've saved how many lives because your dad didn't go on a rampage and kill masses of superheroes. And then he finds out he has 2 kids, one of them by another woman he doesn't really like. Ah, yes, that I was familiar with. That was an interesting choice. I didn't really like it, but it was an interesting subversion, and I felt that that had a place. I felt like that was worth featuring. I would have quite liked it if he'd managed to kill that woman, or someone had managed to kill that woman, but oh well. So he's in the past, he's managed to save a whole bunch of lives, including a bunch of people who protect the Earth, other superheroes. He probably would eventually get with the woman who he was in love with, just not in the same way as he did the first time. And he probably would have a child with her, just not necessarily the same child, precisely the same child as he had the first time round. Like, he's getting bent out of shape about this one life. Like, yes, his child, okay, I guess. I mean, this is probably where things break down a little bit, because I would become violently angry if I found out I was having a child, because I really don't want to be involved in that situation. And then there's Anissa. Would he still have met her at Mac 2? I don't remember enough of the events in that series to remember who Anissa is or meeting anybody at Mac 2, I'm afraid. I don't remember that. So yeah, there was a bunch of stuff. Oh, Anissa was the second one, the Ultramite. Viltrumite. Okay. Yeah, he probably wouldn't have still had that experience, or I mean, maybe. Well, he would be forewarned for one thing. Her courting ritual involving tackling him to the ground so hard it made a crater. Yes, I remember now. I just didn't remember her name. Anyway, so perhaps there is a fundamental disconnect here, where because I absolutely personally do not want children, I'm not understanding the point of view of someone who has had a child and absolutely wants that child. Like, but could you not have let go and been like, well, yes, I've lost that one life, but I've saved like dozens, perhaps hundreds of these lives, and I will eventually have a child with this person, just not necessarily the one that I've lost by time shenanigans. Like, fucking get over yourself, is my incredibly harsh opinion on the subject. The other group, Wildstorm Authority, kind of had a power creep problem where things had to keep escalating. It could very easily be argued that DC has a similar problem with power creep, and that removing previous villains so that they no longer are causing problems doesn't necessarily mean you won't have the problem of new incoming villains being ever more powerful to present ever more complicated, dangerous threats to your ever more powerful and experienced superheroes. So, I mean, Wildstorm shows that, or the Authority certainly, shows that it's definitely possible to remove old villains, and still be in a situation where you're constantly ramping up in terms of threat. DC has a lot of old villains that are actually really dangerous. Yeah, well, certainly you can rewrite them to be really dangerous. There are a few particularly Batman villains, like the Condiment King, who I really don't think you can convince me are actually dangerous. People like Devastation and Livewire get punked, but are ridiculously dangerous. Yeah, well, I don't remember Devastation. Is Devastation... Well, I don't even know if Devastation is a she, but is Devastation a Wonder Woman villain? I know that Livewire is a Superman villain. Devastation is basically an evil Wonder Woman. Okay, I thought I remembered the name. Yeah, so you can have very, very dangerous, powerful villains appear to get punked by, you know, powerful, technically dangerous superheroes. Like, I mean, Livewire is a Superman villain, and Devastation is a Wonder Woman villain. So, I mean, their threat level is commensurate with the level of power of the hero that they face. Which kind of craps on Batman a little bit there. Anyway, I've spent 15 minutes talking about this, so let's continue with the story.
Lex Luthor sent me here the moment we heard Brother Eye drones were scanning the populace for superpowers. Can you break up those drones and gather me some of their nanoprocessors?
Yes, I will find nanotech-sized processors from these drones. That's definitely something I'm capable of doing without any help. Yeah, in this version, so hero version, you would help the people that...
Attempted decryption of further ICE coordinate files.
Hero side, you would help the people that just got hurt by the drones. Villain side, you obviously don't give a shit about them. Deva is one of the few characters to actually beat Wonder Woman in a fair fight.
728. The All-Father in the sky. Part of the OMAX. A satellite with almost unlimited nanotechnological and communication capabilities.
That was really confusing just there. Powers, well, certainly attacks from weapons are technically homing, like they can't miss. So quite why I wasn't hitting that drone specifically just now, I couldn't tell you.
Detected. Attempted decryption of further ICE coordinate files. Stop us. Detecting unauthorized access to further ICE. Detecting unauthorized access to further ICE locations. Detected.
Has any superheroes rogues gallery or rogue villain, you know, specifically single villains, have any villains ever switched the superhero with whom they're associated with? Like, has a Batman villain ever become one that switches to Superman, for example, or maybe Wonder Woman, or, you know, any other way?
I need
Detecting
your help.
unauthorized access to further ICE.
Deva apparently later loses to Wonder Girl, but when you read it twice, she actually changed her mind about wanting to fight and simply leaves. Fair enough. Cyborg Superman is now more of a Green Lantern villain. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I could see that happening. Superman is definitely the biggest of the DC heroes who deals with alien threats, so one of his villains becoming a Green Lantern villain makes sense.
Detected. Attempted decryption of further.
And then there are villains like Starro and is it Despero?
Detected. Attempted decryption of further.
Who are kind of really more Justice League villains, like they're ensemble villains. They're less associated with one single
unauthorized access to further.
hero, and more associated with just like the whole team that it takes to defeat them.
Detected. Attempted decryption of further.
But yeah, so like there are a bunch of villains in DC, particularly because I'm most familiar with DC, that I think you should probably kill just for the sake of limiting casualties, because they've got a track record of just killing everybody that they encounter once they're free, like Joker. Or, well, not everyone, but like the Joker has a pretty high body count, and I really think that in the Joker's case, the responsible thing to do would be to kill him, just so that he doesn't fucking continue to murder indiscriminately.
I need your help.
But
Please.
he's
attempted decryption of further ICE coordinate files.
Please.
Joker is a fairly
logs.
iconic DC villain. He accounts for quite a lot of their merchandising, and
Please.
there are plenty of Elseworlds stories where the Joker dies, so I can't ever see him ever getting killed off in an official DC story. Although in a world like DC, just because you kill them doesn't mean that they can't come back. But still, like, there are certain villains, maybe Parasite for Superman, who just goes around killing people. Like that's the way that he survives. He leeches energy out of people. Like, I think there are some stories where he's careful about it and just steals skills, like what happens in Young Justice.
Please!
But there are plenty where he just vampire drains energy out of people and kills them.
Attempted decryption of the coordinate bombs.
Like, maybe the creation of Parasite was a mistake and an accident, and like his existence is unintentional. But like, if you've got a creature that's that powerful and just kills people,
those memory cores to see if we can retrieve anything valuable. But this is just scratching the surface of the information we may find.
oh, okay, Parasite doesn't actually kill all of his victims. Some are just unconscious for several hours. Well, fair enough. I think it probably depends on which version of Parasite and maybe how long it's been since he's eaten. Anyway, this is especially true of Super, since his power isn't permanent and has to feed again to keep the powers. Yeah. So, maybe Parasite isn't the best example, but there are definitely villains. Well, okay, maybe Zod. Maybe Zod isn't worth leaving alive. On the other hand, I can see why Superman wouldn't kill Zod, because Zod's one of the few people left in the universe who knows what Krypton was like before it was destroyed. So, wow, this is kind of sketchy placement of an asset. I mean, does the building need this weird brace if it's freestanding? And clearly this is quite significantly off as well. Yeah, I can see why Superman wouldn't ever kill Zod, because Zod is one of the few people left in the universe who knows what Krypton was like before it was destroyed, so he's basically a very valuable resource of memories and experience of Krypton. However much Zod may be deserving of no longer being there to hurt people, but like, I suppose there's also the issue of, if you start killing off villains, the others will probably react and get worse. So, like, it's definitely, as a concept, something that needs careful handling. But it's definitely possible. Like, there are a bunch of, at least two, certainly. Why does Gotham PD even never use force? Yeah, I don't know. You would think, certainly, that they'd like push him down the stairs, like Joker would have an accident. Maybe, I mean, Gotham PD is always painted as laughably corrupt, so maybe it's the case that the Joker bribes every policeman that he encounters to not kill him, or just a firefight and Joker gets shot. Yeah, that is a bit weird. I mean, people probably handwave that and say, ah, the Joker was wearing body armor or something like that, but you don't really get body armor made for the legs, and you can still get shot in the leg and bleed to death very, very quickly. Also, the Joker never wears a helmet, and you can get shot in the head and get killed immediately. So yeah, it is a curious thing.
Brother Eye memory cores are encrypted in a Batman-level code. It's like decoding a giant-sized Batman computer mind. Now there's a scary thought.
I mean, it's basically what the Brother Eye
speaking.
thing is.
The OMACs are attacking superpowered heroes and villains in force near the Knight's Dome Stadium. The OMACs rather brilliantly adapt to any attack, so don't bother with the heroes there. There will be plenty of time for that when Brother Eye's information is in my hands.
Oh no!
Uncle Jingles.
Listen up, kid. Go pound on the OMACs and grab some of that cyber virus so the Joker scientists can take a look at it. You never know what new ingredients will wind up in his toxin.
Joker has scientists working for... Well, probably kidnapped victims. Probably not willingly working for him. OMACs are a crime against nature. Yeah. I mean... The idea behind them is good. Like, you have a delivery... you have a delivery system for defense... empowerment, like nanotechnology set, and if not for the fact that it goes evil, it would be very, very helpful to have people gaining OMAC upgrades to help.
179. OMACs are created using a direct injection of a fast-acting nanoshein solution.
Help. OMACs could have been a great help in emergency situations, like in OMACs are like, what if I made a police force out of Terminators? Kind of. It's the other way around though. It's like Terminators are metal skeletons around covered by flesh, but OMACs are humans encased in metal. So, you know, it's kind of the opposite way around, but yeah, basically. I mean, the idea behind OMACs wasn't, yes, we'll create superpowered Terminators. The idea was supposed to be that superpowered individuals would get a massive boost to their abilities and defenses. From the OMAC nanotech, so that they could perform better, help defend against, you know, alien threats, or help with disaster relief. It's just that the thing that controls the OMACs, Brother Eye, went insane and omnicidal. Certainly homicidal.
The Justice League will get you.
Why did a Justice League will get you voice line come out of a villain? Unless it was one of the passers-by, one of the pedestrians shouting it? Weird. So, like, yes, OMACs are a huge problem, but they weren't supposed to be. They were supposed to be quite useful. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I think there's some ABC comics, or AB comics, ABC, because AB stands for America's Best, so ABC is America's Best Comics. Whether they actually are America's Best Comics is debatable, but there's a superhero team that Promethea meets.
I hope the heroes kicked your ass.
Who have a recurring villain. They keep trying to genuinely destroy because of the damage that the villain does, and not quite succeeding for reasons.
Initiating trip protocol.
So yeah, just spaced out a little bit there, sorry. Now that I think about it, there are two versions of Omax. The enhanced humans who are controlled, mind controlled, and another version where they skipped with the human victims. Okay, fair enough. I mean, the only ones that you encounter in the game are the mind controlled ones, mind controlled human version. They must feature in comics at some point. In fact, I think that they feature quite early, relatively speaking. Like, I think there are 80s comics with OMAC and Brother Eye. But I haven't read any of them, so I don't know. Don't know about the other version. OMAC and Brother Eye are kind of the DC Universe version of Ultron, in that they were created by one of the heroes for to be a force for good, and went insane and keep reviving themselves by escaping digitally and making, you know, digital copies of themselves elsewhere. So you can never be 100% sure that you have gotten rid of it completely. I don't know which one came first. Seems like Ultron probably came first, and OMAC was one of the many occasions where DC and Marvel tried to catch up with one another. Is how I'd put it. Like, one of them comes up with a great idea, and the other goes, "Oh, that's a great idea. Let's do our version of it." I can't think of a Marvel version of Wonder Woman, though. Really. There isn't really a direct one-to-one equivalent, although in fact there isn't really a direct one-to-one equivalent of Batman or Superman either, really. I mean, probably the closest equivalents are Batman and Iron Man, even though their powers and approaches are entirely different. If we're just talking about their origins and like where they get their powers from. Superman equivalent might conceivably be Thor, even though they behave entirely differently. Their backgrounds are entirely different. Like, it's basically just their power level is roughly equivalent. Although you could probably also argue that Marvel's Sentinel is a better equivalent for Superman, even though he features very much less frequently. Right, I'm looking for villain who needs help.
heroes and villains working together. It's enough to give you hope for humanity. Like that'll last.
We're not really working together either. We're just not directly opposing one another.
Superman and the JLA failed miserably in exterminating Brother Eye the last time he acted up. Since an EMP burst will disrupt the OMACs, I've duplicated the units Batman used the first time and had LexCorp airdrop them in. Use them to take out the OMACs. Then see if any data remains in the humans left behind.
Lex is such a knobhead. And then we don't do anything to help the people who have been ejected from the Brother Eye OMAC
Please help me
armor.
out. This is my first gig for LexCorp, and when I lifted those EMPs, I forgot to set their shields, and some of them busted, and ooh, they're gonna kill me. Like, kill me, kill me. Can you get me the damaged cores so I can repair them, please?
I'm not afraid of you.
Data 0825. Directive 2. Ensure continued existence of Brother Eye satellite.
Back off.
Colgar is a yellow lantern. Yep, I noticed. You don't tend to see them very often. I don't think that many people particularly enjoy solid light powers. Certainly not on the villain side. I mean, you don't really see as many villains as you do heroes in the first place. But it doesn't seem like light gets used very much. I mean, I probably wouldn't use it very much either, to be honest. I don't think I'm likely to create a light hero or villain, because it's a control set and I've kind of gone off control sets now. Particularly, I wouldn't want to go into a later or end game fight with a controller solo, because of the lack of self-healing. But that's just my preferred playstyle. Kunaga has super speed as his travel power. I didn't notice that, but fair enough. It's an odd choice, really. I mean, Green Lanterns and Yellow Lanterns, one of the easiest things to do with a power ring is to give yourself the ability to fly. So seems like a bit of an odd choice thematically. I guess if you really, really love super speed. Now I've finished doing that, I just feel like picking them up. You'll notice you get a tiny amount of XP if you do. Every little helps. As is it Asda or Tesco's like to say in their adverts? I don't remember. It's been fucking ages since I've watched any adverts. Because I have ad block and I don't watch TV. I wasn't bothering you. Could you not just decide not to bother me? Please. I need one more EMP thingammy. Here we are.
Run for your life!
Nice one.
Oh good, data from the OMAC victims. I do love me some data. This will give us something to use against Oracle. And, Brother Eye, of course.
Since the deactivated OMACs are a blank, you must face Brother Eye himself to gain his data. He's squatting in the sewers and using the tunnels to deploy his OMACs. Only multiple EMPs will take down his shielding, so I'm sending in Killer Frost. She'll give you a device to use on junction boxes down below.
I do like Brother Eye is squatting in the sewers. Funnily enough, the skill set I use on my planet villainess is more crowd control oriented in the offense role than healing, even though it's theoretically a healing set. Yeah, there's a lot in nature, the nature power set, that makes me think it would be better as a control set than a healing set. Like, just the whole concept of it makes more sense as a control than a healing set. Although the same thing could be said for electricity, really. Although it's more in electricity's case that I don't think it really warrants being a healing set. But anyway, yeah. I wonder why they don't let you simply choose a role and don't tell you what role you're allowed to use. It's probably to keep the complexity down. If they have to build every power set so that you can play it as a control or a tank or a healer, that's a whole lot more powers, a whole lot more that each power set is trying to do. Like, I mean, I've already complained about Gadgets before, but Gadgets is already trying to do 4 different things with its debuffs, and that's aside from trying to be a control set. So like they'd really need either to give you loads more powers or to give you more choice in your powers. Like they'd need at least 3 branches in your power tree rather than it just being linear as it is at the moment, or even like just having 2 branches in as they had previously. Like they've streamlined powers already, and they're obviously going for having a streamlined experience that lacks complexity, so that, you know, it's not a turn-off to people who don't want complex gaming. I wonder why they don't let you. Oh, I don't mean adding more powers, just letting you set any role. Well, the thing about that is that secondary power effects, or just ordinary power effects of powers in a set, really only support one secondary role. Like, I could set, even if I could set my character's role to tank, none of the powers I have access to do anything to support being a tank. The powers I have access to would only be in support of being a healer. Like, I can't use any of my powers for tanking. Maybe I could use some of my powers for control, a bit. You probably need to
Look for Killer Frost
change some a bit.
I'm sure she'll give you a warm welcome, along with the EMP device. And she'll make sure you get in safely, if she wants to survive.
I mean, I guess what you could do is, depending on the role that you set, alter the function of the powers, so that, like, one power has 3 or maybe 4 different functions, depending on which role you've set. So, like, if you're a DPS, all of them just do damage and maybe apply some debuffs. But if you're a control, then they have control abilities. But that still means, basically, they need to create 4 times the powers that they've already added. It's just that they would have the same icon, the same name, and probably the same animation. It would still be, you know, that many extra powers.
Oh, thank goodness. I need help, and I just can't go in any further. I was studying Killer Croc's atavistic symptoms on a real alligator, and my test subject escaped. Can you bring him back? Or just his teeth? I'd settle for the teeth. He's very violent, you know. I'd hate to think what the chemicals in these sewers would do to him.
So, like, even in Champions Online, there are some powers in Champions Online that just functionally are useless for a particular role. Like, you can't use any of the tanking passives for DPS because they don't let you. I mean, you can try and function as a DPS with a tanking passive, but, like, you just won't do the damage to keep up with other builds that genuinely do use a DPS passive. So, like, but that's an entirely different game. The way that you have very, very flexible roles is by having lots of choice of powers, so that you can use the different powers to support the role that you're trying to play. And I think the only ways that you could do that in DCUO are the ones that I've already explored, and the fact that they've already simplified the way that powers work tells me that DCUO Daybreak want to keep things simple for players who don't want a billion different buttons and choices to make. Like, World of Warcraft used to be much worse than it is now for having a billion buttons. My experience certainly are, well, So I have some experience with Lord of the Rings Online, and I've looked at people with max level characters showing builds, rotations, stuff like that for different classes in Lord of the Rings Online, and that genuinely has like hundreds of buttons. It's ridiculous. I don't know, as is DCUO gives you a long list of powers and then tells you you only get to use 8 at a time, or 6. Yeah, it's basically 6. But you can choose from a huge list. Testable. Electrified enemies take additional damage. I'm using electrified. I think I am, aren't I? Let's put that in instead. Like in Lord of the Rings Online, it's very much how WoW Classic was. So in WoW Classic, you would get an ability and then you would buy from a trainer an upgraded version of that ability, along with earning other abilities. And you still had access to the lower level of ability as well as the higher levels that you purchased upgrades of. And you could choose which one that you wanted to use. Like you could add them all to... Which Frost is this? Is this Crystal Frost or Lincoln? I have no idea. It'll probably say on the DCUO wiki which version this is. I note that she has arm warmers on, because of course Killer Frost definitely needs to keep her arms warm. I mean, they're not even gloves.
About time. This device will convert the junction boxes down here into EMPs. Lex insists I stay until we know the device works. If it doesn't, don't expect a rescue. I'm cold that way.
Ho ho!
Let's go. I'll take the lead and show them some real fireworks. I love body heat.
Seems like a bit of
Hurry!
excuse, really.
It's at the end of the corridor. All right, kid, you're on your own. Stay frosty.
I like how the hero version has fire stay with you until this point, but she leaves because she can't cope. All of the Omacs are countering everything that she does. She can't do anything to them anymore because they've adapted. This version has Killer Frost just stay long enough to fulfill the requirements made of her by more powerful, scarier villains. Crystal, Lincoln was less sociopathic. I'll take your word for it.
Ally of and advocate for the OMAC project, and brother I.
Right,
deceased.
so World of Warcraft used to have hundreds of buttons, and you used to be able to choose which level of power you use. So like which rank, like it would determine how much of your class's resource you use, like mana or rage or whatever, and also how much damage it did. And just like classic WoW, which I mean they've streamlined WoW and WoW's abilities quite a lot at this point, even though you still end up with like 20 or so abilities, depending on class. Lord of the Rings Online still has that kind of like you can choose to use the level 1, 2 or 3 or whatever of that ability and you have the choice of like how much mana it uses, how much of your class's resource it consumes, and how much damage it does. Which, I mean, I quite like complexity. I like choice in games. I like having lots of buttons. But Lord of the Rings Online seems like it's too many buttons for me. And if, you know, if maybe DCUO decided Daybreak, if Daybreak decided to add the ability to, as we were discussing, choose which role you played with your power set, and like added a bunch of new powers. I mean, you probably wouldn't need to add that many new powers. You wouldn't need to quadruple the number of powers that each power set has, but you'd need to add some so that you had supporting powers for a given role. Like, if they decided to add all of that, I would be very pleased. I would quite like to be able to play and have the choice of, like, pick any power set and you can play any role. I mean, some of them make less sense. I don't really see how a Red Lantern, for example, uses rage to heal. Or how munitions would use bullets to heal, I guess. Plant could do control. Yeah, definitely, Plant could do control. You could even argue that Plant could do tank if you, like, coat yourself in really tough plant material.
Brother Eye's shielding is breaking up communication, so I won't be able to steer you through. Watch out for Brother Eye's drones and try to get past without acting. If you can. The data...
I wonder whether it's even possible to get through this without alerting the drones, without stealth abilities. Either they just don't care, or they've got a really small area of... I mean, even doing that doesn't do very much to them. Like, activating the EMP doesn't actually destroy them. Seems entirely pointless to me. Thematically, bug swarms. Plant actually has damage resist powers already. Oh, okay. Thematically, bug swarms. Fair enough. I mean, it's nature rather than plant, but that's really only a technicality. I mean, most of the powers are plant. I can see why people call it plant. Anyway, I mean, you could transform into a gorilla and be a tank as well, really. I think transforming into a gorilla is a power. It's just, I think it's a supercharged power, so I never use it. You would think someone who has electricity powers would be capable of generating EMPs on their own, wouldn't you? Where's the last one? Is it below me? Down here somewhere. Nope, it's up here somewhere. Is it stuck in behind here? Where are you? Oh well. Oh yeah, it is back there. There was a health bite stuck inside this. Alright, well I guess you can chill there then.
I have you now.
It's on the really long list of things live wire can do. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Generating EMPs, I mean.
Data 1226. Blank. Buddy. One of the creators of the Brother Eye, All-Father. Former Wayne Tech employee and soldier.
Oh, ambushing me with 2 dudes at a time. I mean, you have evidence that this tactic doesn't work. Maybe Omak is, or Brother Eye is hoping that I'm weakened by each encounter, and that the second one will therefore work because I'm weakened, but that just means that Brother Eye has no ability to...
Damage potential significant. Intruder has not been eliminated.
Evaluate threats. But yeah, so like I would quite like it if powers were added. Not necessarily.
You have entered the presence of Brother Eye. Leave now, or security measures will be initiated.
As I said, not necessarily quadrupling the number of powers in a set, but like add some powers so that the sets have supporting powers for each role. Nice of Brother Eye to light up the floor like this to let me know which places I should ascend.
Data 1024. Batman. The authorized creation of the Brother Eye Project out of concern that he could not adequately control the meta-powered members of the superhero community.
Livewire in one comic book acted as a living antenna. That seems a bit much.
Personal defense is ready. Deploying drones.
Where are these drones coming from, by the way? Like where, particularly giant ones like this.
Eliminating data bleed.
I mean, I suppose that basically the OMAC armor is composed of nanotechnology, so I suppose it could feasibly appear from anywhere.
Subsystem. Activating fission mass. Loading the combat.
Uploading Brother Eyes to multi-location. Have a nice day.
I have assimilated millions of civilizations for their knowledge. Planets like Krypton, an advanced society, rich in data. Once the samples are taken, of course, there is no further need for what remains. It is expendable.
That's not the same as needing
Inevitably,
to
the
destroy
same
it.
fate awaits the planet, Earth, a primitive little orb. The Earth continues to defy me. Heroes and villains alike stand against me. Its champions smash my minions and crush my allies. But this is of little concern. But now it ends. For now I, in turn, will take their own deadliest technology and use it against them. For no technology can withstand Brainiac.
I don't know. Do I take the helmet, even though I can't use it just yet, or do I just take a piece of gear? But maybe the ring, because it gives me a bigger boost. Let's take the ring. I wonder why these don't stack. Oh well.
You've done well. This Brother Eye may not possess the information of the original, but sooner or later that data will be in my hands. As for the OMAC virus, I derived it from a different future Brainiac technology. It could save us all, or be our doom. For now, speak to Killer Frost in the safe house. I'm sure she'll thank you for all your efforts. Luther out.
I like how he added Soto voice or be our doom. You know, just to... The main thing is that it could be our victory, but it could be our doom. Like he's contractually obliged to admit that maybe it might not be such a good idea. Joker, closing the eye. Ha 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 ha. Seeing Bats get his past rubbed in his face like this is hilarious. Nice work gathering those OMAC chips. I'm sure we'll find a use for them. I wonder whether the message you get differs depending on who you're in those situations. Like, I got a message just then from Joker, but I wonder whether your origin determines the message you get.
You
like,
need any goods, friend?
if I were a meta villain, would I get a message from Lex? I don't know. The others don't change depending on your origin, so probably not, but it might. It's not something I'm interested enough in to try out, but questions there.
Oh, you again. It was cold of me to leave you in those tunnels. But on the bright side, we both survived and the OMACs are on ice. I call that a happy ending.
Livewire is one of those weird characters who has a massive list of ways she can use what seems like a simple ability. Yeah.
This is Calculator. The Sinestro Corps is still having issues with their rings, and the Green Lantern Corps and the JSA have them on the run. Sinestro apparently asked for you by name. Check in with Sinestro Corps recruiter in the Midtown nightclub.
Ah, this is a different one. Once you participate in the ring war,
you need
that's
any
it.
goods, friend?
For lantern stuff. Midtown. I think it's based on what NPC the story is associated with. Yeah, probably. Or like, Brother Eye doesn't really have anything to do with Joker, but Joker is the opposite member of Batman, so Batman is the person who sends you that message if you're a hero, or well, a message that's similar. The message you get in that place is you get from Batman if you're a hero. So the fact that Batman and Joker are opposite one another, I suppose he's probably the person to get it from. Although, I mean, Lex was the person who was talking to us during all of that. Like, Lex could legitimately be just as good as a person to get a message from there. Livewire has on occasion used her electrokinesis to manipulate struggling with that word, technopathy in principle, but based on her knowing how to flip switches inside things. Yeah, I think technopathy is different from electrokinesis. Like, electrokinesis, you need to know how the machine works to manipulate it, but technopathy, either the knowledge is granted to you automatically by your power, or you don't need to know how any of the machines work at all in technopathy, so that you and you just like control the technology to do stuff without knowing how it works.
Our battles with the Green Lanterns over our malfunctioning rings have drained us. We must refuel our rings with fear. Use this construct fear charger to collect the terror you inspire in the populace. Consider yourself honored for your earlier service. We would never allow you one of these if we weren't in this predicament.
This is Lex Luthor, building your relationship with the Sinestro Corps, I see. Fear can be quite useful, especially if it undermines the efforts of so-called heroes in my city. To that end, I've arranged a little roadblock for Star Labs transports carrying experimental explosives. Help yourself. I think using it on cars, stands, and other objects should spread fear quite adequately.
That's Lex Luthor advocating a terrorist campaign of random bombings. Terrorist being an entirely appropriate term, given that you are attempting to generate terror to recharge Yellow Lantern rings, who are awfully defensive and proud for people who need your help, aren't they? Like, listen, Yellow Lantern chap, if you take that attitude with me, I might just decide not to bother helping you, and then where will you be? Where will you be? Fucking stuck with no charge on this awful little mud ball, as you call it. Hmm? So why don't you try being a little bit more polite? I know that your whole shtick is scaring people, but really, you don't scare me remotely. The fact that you need my help, it's not Atrocitus, because, well, Atrocitus. Yeah, fair enough. Stop hiding behind the van, you little shit.
This is the Science Police.
Oh, he can fly. Or at least his pose was the flight, and he was off the ground. Don't know if he actually was flying. Lex claims to be Al, as I would be calling him if I were in the universe. Al Luthor claims to be on the side of humanity, and yet here he is encouraging me to engage in a terrorist bombing spree against just random people.
Unit 757 calling for backup at my position. In pursuit of suspect. No! All over me! Stop!
I'm so scared! Help!
What's going on? I don't want to die. Help me!
Why don't you leave this area then, you nugget?
My power ring is nearly depleted from the attacks of the Green Lanterns and the cursed Science Police. I need more fear! Use this yellow fear bomb on the Science Police control consoles. Show them our power!
blown rage of crimson red, ripped from a corpse so freshly dead. Together with our hellish hate, we'll burn you all, that is your fate. That's a pretty terrible lantern oath. Whoever it was that came up with that is no poet. Like the first, like the OG lantern oath, the Green Lantern oath. It's pretty good, but it still repeats darkness, or no, evil. It repeats evil.
Hey, move away from there. What are you doing?
I'm not quite sure how you would improve the Green Lantern oath, but the fact that it repeats evil twice isn't great.
Move carefully. Avoid sharp edges and combustible objects, and don't panic. One of the Justice Society will be there to help each of you shortly.
Where the heck is Power Girl? I mean, I just want to know so I can avoid attacking her. Oh, there she is. Yeah, don't want to... Don't want to try and have a fight with Power Girl. That would go poorly for me, I think.
It hurts! I hate these things! Help! Get them off me!
I hate these things. Have you experienced them before? That's my assumption from that voice line.
Someone is going to pay for their crimes as soon as these civilians are safe.
We have a live one. Requesting backup. I'm hit. Requesting backup.
These guys hit quite hard, don't they?
No! All over me! Stop!
Did he just T-pose? Did my character just T-pose? He did.
No! All over me!
He T-posed again to assert dominance. I suppose it makes sense. There we go. Maybe she'll throw you into the sun. Maybe. I mean, that would be a good way of getting rid of a joke android. Just toss it into the sun. For Star Labs technology, these bombs are not really having very much effect. Like, they destroy the object that they're attached to, but they're not really, like, creating a big area of effect. Which I think is good, but I suspect Lex probably isn't so fond of.
Get them off me!
Fucking cut that out.
Someone help! Requesting backup. It hurts! I hate these things! Oh, hell! All over me! There's no need for panic. This is your only I'm hit! Everything's blowing up! It hurts! I hate these things! Help!
Why is this happening? Someone save me!
There we go. Alright, now I need to drain
What are you
fear.
doing? Please don't hurt me. I just got out of law school. What are you? No!
Get away from me! No!
I'm terrified. You happy now? Ah! Help!
I don't think my character really needed to go and set any bombs. I mean, he's already scary enough, I would think.
What are you doing? Please don't hurt me. I just got out of law school.
This is the Science Police. We're safe now.
Genuinely think DCUO sets aggro triggers on mission artifacts. Oh, that was the Red Lantern Oath. No, some of it is
Unit 757 calling for backup.
I mean, in this case, it was they spawned in when I interacted. It wasn't that I aggroed them because they were nearby. It was they spawned in and started attacking me immediately. And I think that was what was happening when I was placing the bombs below as well. Like, 2 of the Science Police would spawn in when I placed the bomb.
Hey, move away from there. What are you doing? Try to remain calm. Oh no, see that just requesting backup. I'm hit. I'm hit.
I just want all this to stop. Why me? I didn't do anything.
I'm terrified. You happy now? Ah! Help!
757 calling for backup at my position. In pursuit of suspect.
Ah! What are you? No! Ah! What are you? No!
But maybe he did aggro when I had tried to interact with the mission objective there.
I'm terrified. You happy now? Ah! Help! What are you doing? Please don't hurt me. I just got out of law school.
You got to use a ring construct-made thingamabob? The Sinestro Corps must be desperate to give a non-member something like that. And interesting. I'm not seeing Sinestro's energy charge anywhere on my scans. Something's up.
Shouldn't they feel happier after you steal their fear? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. You would think it would drain their fear if you create fear in them and then use it to power the power ring.
You got to use a ring construct-made thingamabob? The Sinestro Corps must be desperate to give a non-member something like that. And interesting. I'm not seeing Sinestro's energy charge anywhere on my scans. Something's up.
We're safe now.
If calculating is correct, Sinestro's ring has been drained to the point where the JSA was able to take him captive. Rescuing Sinestro would be quite a strategic move on our part. There's a secret safe house location nearby. Get in. Find out what they know.
For fuck's sake. Stop randomly attacking assholes who just happen to be nearby. Yeah. I mean, I realise part of it's my fault. I could press tab and fully target one of these dudes, but I don't like the targeting system when it does that. It's too sticky. It only lets you target that one enemy. Why am I still in combat? Who's trying to fight me? Fuck off! Helicopters are really weird constructions, aren't they? How does it stay airborne? Token. Glad I spotted it. No, that would have been Larfleeze's oath. Just shouting mine. Like the seagulls from Finding Nemo. Where the heck is the safe house? Why isn't it marked on my map? Usually stuff has... oh no, there it is. Usually stuff has like an X, an orange X on the map. Not this time though, for some reason.
Your villainy comes to an end today,
Not
punk.
so impressive after all.
Hey, so not so
And this is IS. Dude trying to break into an ATM. I wonder if I'll... no, I probably won't fight Power Girl, she's outside. This will be one of the other members of the JSA, so maybe Wildcat or Mr. Terrific, Dr. Knight, maybe one of the Hawks actually. Oh no, they're in the JLA. Who else? Stargirl? Yeah, maybe Stargirl. I mean, I haven't seen her anywhere else in the game. And we have seen Wildcat, for example, and Mr. Terrific gets mentioned, even if you don't...
I got this, punk.
Oh, there we go.
No problem. If it isn't Sinestro's fear monkey, let's see if you can win an honest fight. Unless, of course, you're afraid. Now that you're worn out, it's time to rope-a-dope.
Surprised he's not martial art. Well, no, I'm not. I guess I'm not surprised actually that he's not martial arts and brawling instead. He was a boxer before he was.
Don't waste your time. I won't tell you anything.
Don't waste your time on Wildcat. These old-school heroes will die before they talk. Take him out. Search the place. Perhaps there's some record we can use.
This is almost the same layout. In fact, it is the same layout, just differently decorated. To the penthouse that you go to, the Intergang penthouse that you go to when you're doing the Crime Bible stuff, Crime Bible mission.
Blackest day, brightest night. Beware your fears may be to light. Let those who try to stop what's right burn like his power, Sinestro's might.
Honest fight? Nope, I'm gonna electrocute you. Yeah, basically. I mean, a Wildcat does technically have some powers, it's just they're not really terribly good. He's got 9 lives. That's it. I'm not quite sure to what extent he can like regenerate, or what happens if he's, for example, atomized, but
in brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light.
Yeah, so that's kind of a cool oath, in my opinion, despite the repetition of evil. But that was obviously someone came up with that way before.
So far, punk, but your luck's just run out. The science police want to ask you about some explosives you stole. Alpha Squad leader, move in.
This is Hawkman to the Alpha Squad leader. We have Sinestro contained at our headquarters downtown, guarded by Hawkgirl and myself and the original Green Lantern. He is ready for your transport to Strikers.
Okay, so the 2 of Hawks are part of the JSA. Are they like 2 Hawkmans and 2 Hawkgirls? One set from Thanagar in the Justice League, and one set who are the Carters, who are like reincarnating Egyptian weirdos who are part of the JSA. Sounded like Hal Jordan. It probably was the Hal Jordan voice actor doing the Green Lantern line. But the original Green Lantern, Alan Scott, he's really cool. I note that Wildcat has legged it. It's probably wise of him. Not sure they have both on the same team. I don't know. I mean, the Thanagarian Hawks are a part of the JLA. You can meet Hawkman on the Watchtower, so I mean they may be members of both at the same time, but it seems like in DCAU Hawkgirl was a Thanagarian, but Hawkman was a human who remembered a previous life as a Thanagarian. Yeah. The whole Hawk situation is
So,
kind of convoluted
JSA
and
has
weird.
Sinestro hostage at the Justice Society headquarters. That's the Justice Society, not the Justice League. Same idea, smaller membership. Must have taken all of them to take down Sinestro. Even the original Green Lantern and his mystical Starheart power can't take him on alone.
Really? I would have thought that Alan Scott's...
I suggest you not tackle the Justice Society to free Sinestro without freeing more of his core from the Green Lanterns. With the fear you've generated so far, I'm sure you can spare a little for the needy.
I really would have thought that Alan Scott's Green Lantern would have been fine taking on Sinestro. Alan Scott believed that his ring's weakness was wood, not the yellow light. Kind of is stupidly complex for dumb reasons. I thought that I would like interact with this and reboot it or something, but no, apparently not. I think that must have been Abin Sur's oath, maybe? But why would he reference Abin Sur if he was saying his own oath? Weird. Anyway. My understanding of Alan Scott was that he had like a broken down, busted version of a Green Lantern's personal lantern and ring that had their AI stripped out of them, so that they weren't anywhere near as useful as a normal Green Lantern ring, or at least that's what the retcon of his powers were. And that he didn't have any problem with the yellow light spectrum, but did believe that wood was a problem for his ring, because the first time he went out and used his ring to fight crime, a dude that he missed knocked him on the head with a wooden truncheon, and assumed that because he couldn't protect himself from the wooden truncheon, wood must be his weakness. Also, Alan Scott's children were contaminated by the Starheart before they were born, which caused them all to be born with weird powers. Oh yeah, I remember that his daughter is like green, or at least has green hair. I think that Alan Scott is gradually being taken over by green light, and that's why he still looks as young as he does, because he's mostly, or almost, like more than 50% green light construct by this point, just like a sapient green light construct. Yep. Konagar, back again.
Earthlet, you must fulfill my plans and use my teleportation nodes to blow an Earth vehicle into the sky. Place the nodes, then report to me when you're done.
Certain parts of Alan Scott's body are no longer flesh and blood. I might be conflating... I mean, most of my information on this comes from With This Ring, which is a fanfic, and I might be conflating knowledge from that with canon, and Mr. Zote probably reconstructed parts of backstory so that they made a bit more sense with one of his eyes constantly glows because it's energy, one of his hands is energy. Oh, fair enough. Like maybe the stuff that I'm citing was adjustments made to the story or the backstory by Mr. Zote for the sake of making it all line up a bit more for his story, rather than because the thing is that what throws me off with him is that he takes a lot of pains in other places to make things as canon accurate as possible.
These Green Lantern peacekeepers hound us, forcing us to waste the vestiges of fear in our rings. If you wish to serve Sinestro, decimate the Green Lantern peacekeepers.
And I wonder whether the Yellow Lantern members that we meet here, if you choose Yellow Light as your power set, do they have different voice lines for you?
I am free. Sinestro awaits. Now I will instill fear into the lanterns.
I mean, if anything, it would make sense if that was the case. Because this water is on a slope, but it's not flowing down or equalized itself.
Fearful day, raging night. The strong hearts full, our souls ignite. When all seems lost in a war of light, look to the stars. The hope burns bright.
Okay, that'll be the blue one because it mentions hope.
Keep the villain away from the prisoners.
To the headquarters! Destroy the Green Lanterns! Now I will instill fear into the lanterns.
You really would think that, yeah, that if anything, if you were a Yellow Lantern, you would have different voice reactions from these guys. 'Cause they're very, very dismissive of everyone and very like proud of being Green Lanterns. And like, you would think if they met another Yellow Lantern, did I say green? I meant yellow. You would think if they met an actual Yellow Lantern, or at least someone with Yellow Lantern powers, not necessarily dressed like a Yellow Lantern. You can't get
free. Sinestro awaits. To the headquarters! Destroy the Green Lanterns!
You can't get this costume in character creation, and I don't know how you would acquire one. Like maybe there's a vendor that sells that uniform. Let
me loose to destroy the Green Lanterns!
So you won't very easily be able to look like a Yellow Lantern, but
now I will instill
like you can get Yellow Lantern powers.
To the headquarters! Destroy the Green Lanterns!
Saint Walker, he's the head Blue Lantern. Yeah, I figured because he mentioned Hope, it would be a Blue Lantern, but I'm not up on the expanded Lantern corps and their leaders and such. I mean, I know that the Star Sapphires are from Zamaron. But other than that, I mean, I know bits of Lantern lore, but I'm by no means an expert, so there's lots of things I don't know. Where are they all coming from? Oh, fuck's sake.
I am free. Sinestro awaits. I will not fail. I will wring your neck, Lantern. I am free. Sinestro awaits. I will not fail.
Stay clear, Earthlings. It is not
Carol Ferris in this game. She might be. I think I counted 9 Green Lanterns in that fight. Yeah, that was a bit much. And my soda colas are... I haven't updated them because I haven't needed them. So they're still the garbage first level, like, give you tiny amount of health ones. So the drinking one was almost useless.
Now I will instill fear into the lanterns.
I should update them. In fact, if I remove them... Oh, that might be... Let's see. 23, 16... That's probably the best I can equip at the moment. Until I'm level 30, so let's go with that. Hopefully I won't need it.
Evil incoming. Watch these for me.
How many of these assholes do I need to free?
I said to keep back. You're under arrest.
No, you didn't. That's the first time you said anything to me. Going to spawn in to stop me from freeing these guys. Doesn't look like.
To the headquarters! Destroy the Green Lanterns! I am free!
Okay, I don't need to free anymore. Just need to find Manhunter parts. Which might still draw attention. Me, or did they aggro to me from an unusually far distance? Okay, that's handy. Decimate Green Lantern Peacekeepers. Here's another person that doesn't know what decimate fucking means. Decimate means reduce by 1/10. It doesn't mean kill. I mean, not directly. It was a Roman punishment for centuries, which is units of 100 men, and it was actually pretty massively brutal. Don't you have an objective to beat up peacekeepers? Oh yeah, 9 of 10 peacekeepers. Yeah, I noticed that as well. Because it decided to update, rather than because it was helpfully on the list shown on screen. So decimate meant if a century had performed poorly, it was a disciplinary thing. Like if a century of Roman legionaries had performed badly or done something else, like the 10 of them were chosen at random and the rest had to kill them by stoning, I think, or certainly beat them to death. So decimation was a punishment. It was incredibly brutal and horrible, and it meant to reduce by 1/10. Like, you can't really decimate an individual person unless you're like lopping off 1/10 of their biomass, I guess. You don't decimate individuals, and I wish people would learn what the definition of decimate means. It means to reduce by 1/10, hence deci, as in 10 or deca. Like, that's the Latin term for 10. If I recall correctly, decimate was most often used for cowardice or just abuse. Yeah, most people use it.
Every one of them, even with our rings of low power.
How many? How long is this going to take? Jesus. How many assets are going to spawn in? Because there was like 8 or 10 of them, wasn't it?
Away from the prison.
I wouldn't really say that the Manhunter was any use defending itself.
For any villainous backup, use your ring power wisely. For any villainous backup, use your ring power wisely.
2, 4, 6. They'd have a chance if they all came at once. I certainly won't be able to protect the Manhunter and fight them all. That was only 6. Well, maybe. I mean, you still have to fight 8 of them.
I said retreat back. You're under arrest. Stop every one of them, even with our rings of low power. Stop every one of them, even with our rings of low power.
Okay, we done? Looks like it. It's a lot of work. I mean, I would have preferred 3 or 4 of them. Not to have to go through this 5 times.
Come, watch this for me. Villainous backup. Use your ring power wisely. Every one of them, even with our rings of low power.
Destroy the target.
Playing more of Secret World. I'm really enjoying it. It's unfortunate that it doesn't seem terribly popular. Certainly not anymore. I can understand why. I mean, it's very heavy on the horror, and there's a lot of puzzle elements, which, to be honest, is not really my thing. And you've got a lot of choice in terms of building your character. At least after you've created your character, you can buy any skill. You can unlock any weapon and buy skill points in any tree. So your choices of building your character are unlimited, basically. You don't have a huge amount of choice in terms of like dialogue options. Like you can't take different paths through conversations, but it's got a lot going on. And as I said, I've been enjoying it a lot, and I think there's a lot of value there. Combat's not terribly strong, but then again, I wouldn't really accuse World of Warcraft, for example, of having strong combat.
The Sinestro Corps recruits are homing in on Sinestro's location at the Justice Society's headquarters. Guess that's what happens when you have your address listed in the yellow pages. Really, they're listed. Anyway, with the Fear Corps leading the way, your entry into the HQ should be free and clear.
So why didn't this side mission show up on my list of stuff to do? The way that this game displays your mission objectives is real garbage. Seems like the explosion wasn't big enough. Well, maybe the tanker wasn't actually containing very much fuel. But like if it was full, that should have done a huge amount of damage.
Sinestro's location at the Justice Society's headquarters. Guess that's what happens when you have your address listed in the yellow pages. Really?
Now to rescue Sinestro from the Justice Society's clutches. Make sure all of these Justice Society heroes have quite a story to tell back at the Watchtower. It will serve as a warning to any other heroes who think they make the rules.
I mean, they kind of do. I've got more victories than you have, Lex. I guess this probably had a door in it, but they broke through. Yeah, they broke through this direction because all the rubble's on this side. I wonder where the doors have gone though, and why the first room you encounter in here is a storeroom. Where the JSA would meet, I presume. As I recall from some of the comics that I read, they do have quite a lot of ornaments about in their meeting house. Oh, both hawks. Maybe they have joint membership. Lex did say.
This is who broke into the downtown safe house. Doesn't look like much.
Let's show this uninvited
Ready for a
guest
lesson?
little Justice Society hospitality.
You want Sinestro?
not impressing me very much. Probably manage. You might be able to manage both of them. Defeat Hawkman and Hawkgirl within 10 seconds of each other. Nice. Yeah, in the comics, the Clubhouse did have a lot of ornaments and like stuff in cases.
For hearts long lost and full of fright. For those alone in blackest night. Accept our ring and join our fight. Love conquers all with violet light.
Okay, the one that wasn't in English was probably the Indigo one then, now that I'm thinking of it. Because that was the Violet or Star Sapphire one. Oh right, probably need to rifle through their unconscious bodies for a keycard. Looks like one Yellow Lantern went down. If it was a feat to keep them all alive, then I've failed that, obviously. But oh well. I'm not too bothered by it.
Access granted.
This will be Alan Scott, won't it? There we go. Hi, Sinestro. You having a bad day?
You have come to save Sinestro? His ring is drained, and he is our prisoner. To get to him, you must face the light of the Green Lanterns and the Starheart.
Okay, yeah, he's definitely powered by the Starheart. Given that he mentions it. Sorry, Alan. I really do like you, but I have no choice. I have to do this.
Flee, villain. Flee from the Starheart. Do you stand for, villain?
Doing what the Joker tells me. Basically. That's it.
The light has been defeated. For this moment only. It will return, and you will pay the price.
Nice little game to give me a choice there, eh? Let's go and listen to this. And then we'll go and poke Sinestro.
The blackest night falls from the skies. The darkness grows as all light dies. We crave your hearts and your demise. By my black hand, the dead shall rise!
Fear becomes you. You have repowered my troops and recharged my own ring with the terror you helped create. When I find who has dared to interfere with our rings, the culprit will suffer. So swears Sinestro.
No hit, thanks yet again.
The Starheart. The power behind the lantern. Not even the Guardians on Oa, creators of the Green Lantern Corps, fully understand its magic. But there is no doubt. It is a weapon against evil, against fear, against tyranny and destruction. For I truly believe no one is beyond redemption. That is why I will always fight, why I am and will always be a Green Lantern.
I could very well be wrong, but I think that In Brightest Day was originally Alan Scott's Lantern Oath. Which means that it was written by whoever it was that wrote the original Green Lantern.
The Justice Society was totally disrupted. Sinestro's free, and Ring's back at minimum charge, thanks to you. Check in with the Sinestro Corps recruiter back at the Midtown safe house. They should be suitably grateful.
No, I won't hold my breath. Fear and Loathing. Little reference there to the work of Hunter S. Thompson. Probably most likely recognise it as the name of a film starring Johnny Depp, but it was also...
Your villainy comes to an end today,
Not
punk.
so impressive after all.
So Hunter S. Thompson was a journalist who pioneered a style of journalism called gonzo, which instead of being impartial and separated from the events, the author would insert themselves into the story and talk about how it relates to them and make it personal. Thompson also had a very strong affinity for lots of drugs. He wrote a kind of a long article, almost a novella sort of length, called Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, about his trip to Las Vegas and the things he did there. Ostensibly it was to, I think, go to like a racing derby event, like a car racing event. But it becomes much more than that. And it was adapted into a film, which starred Johnny Depp, because Johnny Depp had been a friend of Thompson's. He wrote a bunch of other stuff. A lot of short articles have been collected into anthologies. I quite enjoy his style. It's not something I read all the time, but I quite enjoy Thompson's style. And it's worth checking out to see whether it agrees with you, at least. Even if you find, ultimately, you don't particularly like it. It's not fiction, really. It's, as I said, journalism, but gonzo, and so involved in the story rather than impartial and impersonal and separate. And also, Thompson in particular, his personal style has a very unique flair to it that personally I very much enjoy. Anarchists and psychopaths and deluded fools, only I and my core have the true vision. These oaths you gathered are useful if only to understand just how sad these creatures are. Now, this use of the word anarchist bothers me, because anarchy isn't just hoo-hoo, break everything, chaos. Anarchy is a legitimate political stance that I'm not an expert on by any means, but involves.
I'm sure you'll see something you like.
Everyone being responsible and reasonable and kind to one another, and in an anarchy, you are trusted, and you trust everyone else to be reasonable to you, and you to everyone else, and to help when help is needed, and therefore you can expect help when you need help with whatever it is that you might, need help with. So anarchy is like uber socialism. It's the farthest left I think you can go on the political spectrum, and it's not like idiot assholes dressed like punks smashing stuff, because that's idiot assholes dressed like punks smashing stuff. That's not a political stance.
Sinestro is free, and the terror you've inspired has helped to restore some charge to our rings. Very impressive, human. We will remember.
Still no thanks, I note. DC has anarchy, which is spelt differently. A-N-A-R-K-Y. Yeah, I think that would be some idiot having what he thinks is a good idea. Anarchy, spelt properly with a CH, is almost as old as communism in terms of political philosophies. Like, it's super old, and it's not it's not something new that was invented as a scare tactic or a scary word. His main point is that the Gotham PD are morons and corrupt, and thus he thinks they are part of the problem and needs to die. No, I think the message we got from Sinestro there was in reference to the all the Lantern Corps oaths that we collected, and he was calling all the other Lantern Corps anarchists. He was pouring scorn on the other Lantern Corps.
I've got a message for you from the Joker. Seems he has quite the little personal agenda lined up, you insane rascal, you. He's waiting for you in the inner sanctum at the Hall of Doom.
Ah, so I think that will have been the last of the or the penultimate villain story arc. So this being invited to the Hall of Doom will be the last of them, I think. So archive, Sinestro. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's referring to anarchists, psychopaths, and deluded fools. I'm pretty sure he's referring to the other cause here. Oh, I meant Anarchy, the character. He's a Batman villain who seemingly has good intentions but horrible methods. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I was confused. I apologize. I've got 40 minutes left of the stream. I wonder whether that will be long enough to do this Joker mission, because the Batman one ended up being quite long. I suppose it's fine. I don't mind going over, I suppose. Well, even so, Anarchy, the character, the Batman villain, seems like the character doesn't understand what anarchy is, and probably nor did the writer. I mean, if they did, they wouldn't have cared, or they wouldn't have written the character like that. But anarchy is, just like socialism and communism, a huge threat to the way that capitalism and the oligarchy that runs modern Western capitalism, it's a huge threat to them functioning, and so I'm not remotely surprised that every time one of those things gets mentioned in fiction, or even not just necessarily in fiction. Like, there's loads and loads of propaganda against communism and socialism and anarchy and all the other, like, left-wing methods of running a society, because it sounds a lot better when you're kind and reasonable than capitalism. The Joker over here on his own, not allowed near the sensible adult members of the leaders of the League of Villains, or Doom Bastards. I don't remember. A lot of people think that anarchy is the opposite of having a society with rules. I mean, in an anarchy, you don't... Ideally, in an ideal anarchy, you don't need laws and rules, because everyone understands how to behave appropriately in social situations. I don't personally believe that humanity can rely on no laws, because there are some people who refuse to function inside of polite society, laws or not, and the law and the justice system exists to compensate for them and their selfishness, and I don't think that that will change, even if, because some people, just because of their brain chemistry and circumstances, will never be trustable, basically. I'm trying to think of the right word, but I couldn't really come up with a better one.
Ah, it's my partner in crime. Brainiac has taken over some Star Lab satellite and is using it to store data on Earth's villains. But that's not the only thing on today's agenda, kiddies. What's more fun than blowing up a satellite? Torturing a mad scientist who's stolen my toxin formula. Ha! T.O. Morrow's gone rogue. We'll make a quick pit stop at Morrow's hideaway, beat him to death, take the formula, and then go blow up a space station. Get going. I'll grab Harley and meet you there.
Okay, so this will functionally be basically the same as the Batman side. But we will probably end up not in the Batcave at the end, but in some kind of Joker-themed hideout, I expect. So I need to find a teleporter. But yeah, in an anarchy, in a perfect and an ideal anarchy, you wouldn't need laws. But I don't know that that's capable within human biology, because some people are born with chemical imbalances, congenital. Do you suppose I want to go to? North Burnley or Burnley? Let's go to North Burnley and see how we are there. So I imagine if it were ever possible to make an anarchy work, we would still need a justice system and laws just to catch the people who are natural born psychopaths. And I understand that some psychopaths, like, it's a mental condition. It doesn't automatically mean that you're evil and destructive. Too many laws, and it's no longer anarchy. Well, yeah. I know that some people afflicted with psychopathy are perfectly capable of functioning as a constructive member of society. In fact, most do. And the ones who stand out are the ones who have unfortunate, bad, harmful upbringings that don't instill in them any understanding of the need for social niceties. And so these people who suffer from sociopathy, psychopathy, never develop for themselves any rules for behaving nicely. And so I suppose gradually over the course of an ideal anarchy, you wouldn't have fewer people born with psychopathy. You just would have fewer people in growing up in situations where they don't learn how to be social, how to be good to people. I don't know whether beyond that there are just destructively evil people. I've read a few stories, anecdotes, second-hand accounts on Reddit and places like that about people that were just chaotic evil demons in human form who just seemed to just exist to hurt people. I don't know whether that is psychopathy or something else, and I don't know how often that happens, but like what I talk about in terms of the limits of human brain chemistry and biology is that, like, the outright chaotic evil, destroy everything, hurt everyone, people that you mostly read stories about. So I don't believe that there will be an ideal anarchy even possible, but it would still be awful nice to try. Like, just because you don't think that something is possible doesn't mean you can't work towards trying to attempt it. Like, even if it's impossible to achieve the final goal, working towards achieving it will still make the world better. Like, so if it's not, even if it's impossible, fucking try anyway. He's aware of his actions. He just wants to do what he wants. He's not generally murderous, but still fundamentally evil. It's not necessarily murderous, yeah. Like, take things for themselves, hurt people because they enjoy watching other people in pain, that kind of thing. And not necessarily even physically, like mental and emotional abuse as well. But yeah, I really think that capitalism as it exists at the moment in the West is holding us back.
Oh yes, you may want to look out for Morrow's high-tech death traps and androids. Like that one who joined the Justice League. What's his name? Red Tomato?
I don't know that doing this is really necessary, because... Oh no, it's... Once I move past a certain point, it destroys the shelf. Okay, fair enough. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I don't need to. And it's not like this is even a mystery. Like, I can see from the map that this is the only one that will actually go anywhere. Like, I don't actually need to interact with these turrets or their shelves at all.
Who is this? I wasn't expecting you. No matter. My Morrowbots will make short work of you. You'll never get out of my lab alive. Today or tomorrow.
Ho ho ho! You're real clever, you are, T.O. Morrow. It's like the dream of utopia. Is it achievable? No, but trying helps. The main thing with capitalism is it's the lesser of several evils. Well, I don't believe that. I think that the people who spread capitalist propaganda very subtly through, or maybe even not so subtly, depending on your perspective, through our media, not just like the news, but also all the media that we consume. I really think that they're just scared that capitalism would be replaced by something that wouldn't let them personally control as much wealth as they can physically acquire. Capitalism as it works at the moment exists to let the very, very wealthy stay very, very wealthy. Like, anybody who tries to tell you that it's about free markets and everyone getting a chance to earn is lying or stupid, because that's not how it works. The only way that you get rich is by being born rich.
This is Vicky Vale with Gotham Now. The notorious criminal scientist T.O. Morrow has reputedly fled the island nation of Oolong, where his experiments to create, quote, the life of the future met with disastrous results. Morrow is best known for creating the sentient android Red Tornado, now a member of the Justice League. The GCPD has issued an area-wide alert for Morrow or any of its Red Tornado-based bots. More soon on Gotham Now.
Think you're out of the fire? Wrong! Let's turn up the heat!
Revolutionized television tube technology with hyper-advanced alien circuitry.
Didn't realize he'd be coming in with a voice line after that. That's annoying. I wish voice lines wouldn't play over one another. I wish that they had an ability to, like, stack the triggers, basically, so, like, they'd play one after the next. One after the other. Like, maybe capitalism is the lesser of several evils to people who are very, very selfish, because capitalism allows them to accrue and use wealth for their own selfish reasons, and it's a wonderful excuse for not spending any wealth on helping people who need help socially. And not being charitable. Like, it's a great excuse for being a shit, but it doesn't actually carry any hold any water for me. Like, it would be better if you could just be honest about being incredibly selfish. At least then you wouldn't be lying, I suppose. But, like, hide behind this and not be disrupted. No. Well, I mean, there's this dickhead here. That, no, it didn't. I thought maybe that would rewire the turrets, but apparently not. So I will have to fight my way through all the turrets. That's annoying.
Log entry. The liquid cooling system in this brain case will allow me, T.O. Morrow, to overclock even the most complex cybernetic brains.
What's an example of a system that works in the presence of human greed? Well, the problem with that is that no one has ever really given it a serious chance. Now, I know what you'll say. Haha! The USSR. That wasn't communism given a proper chance. That was communism always, for the whole existence of its, the whole period of its existence under attack from outside by capitalist forces who didn't want it to succeed. Perhaps a better look would be Vietnam, as it is at the moment. There was also very close to an anarchy in Spain somewhere. Where was it? My brother knows more about this than I do, unfortunately. I don't have all the information. Oh, bollocks, there's another dude. Was it Catalonia? Was that the area of Spain? I know that that is the name of an area of Spain. I just don't remember whether that is the area of Spain that I'm thinking of. That during the Spanish Civil War, before the fascist side of the Spanish Civil War won, slightly before and during a portion of the Spanish Civil War, there was for several years.
Destroying all my robots, you pest! Granted, they're not masterworks like my Red Tornado, but please have some respect for the genius that created them.
Then stop sending them at me. You can see what's going to happen. If you don't want them destroyed, don't try and stop me with them. I mean, I know that you don't really have a choice. I mean, if I get to you, I'm going to try and kill you. But, like, don't complain that I'm destroying your robots when you're using them to try and stop me. Like, of course that's what's going to happen. So there was an area in Spain, I don't remember precisely where. Oh, for fuck's sake!
What you find here.
Stop blathering! USSR was communism in name only. It was always about the government being the people with the money. Yeah, I mean, the situation with the USSR was very, very complex. There was a lot of elements going on at the same time there, and picking apart why it was the way it was probably won't work. Like, you probably can't reduce it down into simple terms and go, this is the reason why and this is the reason why it didn't. But I do agree with you, it wasn't true communism, the USSR, and as such can't really be pointed at as an example of oh yeah, well, we had communism for a while and it didn't work. First of all, that wasn't communism, and second of all, and as a result, you can't use that as an example and say, we tried communism, it doesn't work. We haven't tried communism, not properly. One example is the US was a town, in the US was a town where they decided to try a form of communism, but it collapsed after the populace realised the people coordinating the town were siphoning funds from the rest of the town. Now that's a sociological issue, and it's the same with human greed. Like, that's a sociological issue, and I do believe that humans can function without greed. We don't see it very often anymore, and certainly we don't see it in the media, probably because showing people functioning without greed would go against the intentions of capitalistic propaganda. It seems to me that communism only works if everyone is genuinely being altruistic, and thus communism only works in the absence of greed. Well, people are capable of functioning without massive greed. like the kind of dragonish hoarding of resources. Like, not everyone exists like that. True, not everyone can, but I think it's an issue of social development and social consciousness, and if society functioned differently, like if possessing massive amounts of wealth was not valued as much as it is, people wouldn't try and achieve it and use whatever means they can to accomplish it.
Commands the intruder must die.
Now you would think, because I control electricity, that I shouldn't have a problem with being electrocuted by this floor, but I guarantee that I will still take damage from it, because the game can't make exceptions for one power set over all the others, because otherwise people would complain. I mean, I guess saying it's a sociological issue doesn't really help very much. I mean, you can't create a social group out of a vacuum. If you have a social problem, you can't just say, but in a society that didn't have that social problem, things would be fine.
Commissioner
Because
Gordon, this is Lucius Fox with the analysis you requested of substance chemical formula TOM euphoriate. Cute if black humor's your thing. Batman's original hypothesis is correct. It is highly mutagenic. I doubt the Joker himself knows what could happen with prolonged exposure. I assume Batman has some kind of antidote, but any given one will only work once, and lingering effects may occur. Any questions? Call me.
So, the new Joker toxin is like the common cold. It's constantly mutating. If it was live wire, she'd just eat Morrow's power grid. Yeah. I mean, strictly speaking, I would think my character should be capable of just eating the power grid. This is a fucking big hole! Why can't I fly through it? Asshole. Oh well, it's switched off now. Don't need to worry. I realise saying, but it's a social issue, doesn't help, because we have no way of getting from one point to the other without a path. There needs to be a route, like there needs to be continuity. Oh, I wonder why the sound's gone. That's weird.
T.O. Morrow is my creator. I am under his control. Surrender before I am forced to project level critical. Using power to repair systems. I thank you. With my systems failing, perhaps
but
I
like,
can finally escape.
We've gotten here from a different point of social, like, construct and social working. Where we are now isn't permanent. We can change. We are capable of change. And we have an idea of where we would like to be. Or some of us do. And we've all got different ideas, I guess, of where we would like to be.
This is Vicky Vale with a special JLA watch. Red Tornado, also known as Reddy, is actually an android able to harness the powers of the winds. He was created by the evil mastermind T.O. Morrow, but rejected crime and joined the League. Now, this astonishing android is reported missing. Has some secret programming kicked in? Could Morrow have regained control? Batman is reportedly on the case.
Who calls him Reddy?
Holly and I have T.O. Morrow cornered. Get up here, or you'll miss out on all the fun.
Mark Hamill's Joker is definitely the best part of this game.
My antidote isn't working.
Puddin', I don't feel so good.
New toxin. Can't concentrate.
My own toxin, what a ride! This toxin is really something.
He's certainly the best part of
Batman and
being a
Joker
villain.
arrive in force, so I created a new toxin just for them. Alas, not enough left for you. Ah well, ta-ta, tomorrow belongs to T.O. Morrow.
You're dreadful at that, you know. You've only got one joke based on your name. And you keep making it. Come up with new material. Sorry, Batman. Man dressed as that. I see Robin as being as useful as usual. Just standing about.
Not so sick. I can't take you out, Joker.
Robin and I have been gassed with the toxin. Get us back to the Batcave.
Ooh. Definitely have off with that.
Rush fading. Nausea setting in. Oh, I need an antidote. Sorry, kid. You'll have to get to the satellite without me. Calculator, get us to Arkham. Use my private entrance. Harley, do not puke on Daddy.
Why can he fly?
Well, I'll say this for my toxin. It sure packs a punch. Oh, just not as big as the one we'll give Morrow, but later. For now, get up to that satellite and blow Brainiac's brains out. I'm in the mood for some fireworks. Just not my own. Talk later.
I can't equip it just yet. I'll find out when I'm level 30.
One day, little metal man, you will become a real boy, thanks to T.O. Morrow.
Yeah. I'm excited to find out what this looks like, yeah. But, yeah, it's level 30. I can't quite equip it. Not yet. Not there yet. I think I'm going to relog just to try and sort out that weird audio issue. Like, some of it's lagging. And I have no idea what caused it. It's kind of odd. On the hero side, you get a Android Joker head, and obviously villain side we've got an android Batman's head. I mean, to be fair, I did defeat Batman, and on the hero side you do defeat the Joker, but it's still odd that you would get the opposing sides. Oh yeah, completing the mission, or at least as I progress, doing stuff, I'm sure I'll get there fairly quickly.
I'm updating your map with the teleporter location. It's inside a Star Labs teleport station. I'd expect heavy resistance considering Brainiac's taken it over.
Right, I have to force my way through, fight my way through this, and then I can get to the Star Labs satellite that's being taken over, and then I'll fight on there a bunch, and then I'll leave, probably for Arkham, now that I know that's where the Joker and Harley have gone. Not so fond of Joker calling himself Daddy when it comes to Harley. That's a bit fucking weird. But their whole relationship is weird and horrible anyway. He just takes advantage of her. Like, he manipulated her into it, and oh, it's not as big as I was worried that it would be. I thought this was longer, this Star Labs teleport location. So I had to fight my way through more of it.
You're in. First, we'll need to hack 3 separate terminals to gain access to the central core. I used Brainiac key signatures to open the door to the first terminal in the inverse gravitational lab, but you'll have to restore the gravity to gain access.
Yeah, it's probably about 8% of my bar left. Probably a bit less, actually. But killing dudes doesn't really add very much. So, I mean, I might level up. You would think that this is, you can get through this, but no, this is glass. You can't get in there unless you go through a door. I mean, this is definitely very confusing, even though you can just about see cracks painted on the glass there, where it goes through. Hold on, is that open? No, it's not. Okay. Is that open? Is that a door? But no. I was definitely in range. Was that shield acting as a barrier so that it couldn't lock on and summon the storm on the Brainiac bot? That's fucking annoying. This game's weird relationship with lines of sight is a subtle but persistent annoyance. Like, even if it's an object that's like knee height, like a knocked over barrel, if there's an object between you and your opponent, odds are you probably won't be able to attack them, even if you're using a ranged attack, just for no fucking reason. Because there is an object between you and your target. Just because there's gravity doesn't mean there's atmosphere. It has just been open to space. I mean, I'm going to assume that they've put atmosphere back in. But then again, does my joke android need oxygen? Probably not. He's a robot after all.
Log entry. This vocabulator will enable cybernetic life forms to communicate via speech. Courtesy of T.O. Morrow.
I know I can break some things that block line of sight, but...
Docking bay alpha door now open. Oops, Brainiac forces. I'd open the bay doors and clear house before going down to the terminal on the bay floor.
I know you can destroy some of the objects that block line of sight, but it's annoying that you have to, and it slows down the fight, and like, it's an obstacle that doesn't have to be there, or that I think shouldn't. Particularly with, like, I mean, that power I just used that creates a thunderstorm, what's it called? Electrocute. It's not even a direct attack from you to the target. Like, you create a thundercloud above the target that hits downwards. You don't need to have line of sight if you know that there's an enemy there. Only have been out of range by like less than a foot, so the fact that it didn't hit. Didn't they float out? Why didn't they disappear? I mean, they have disappeared now because they exploded, but...
Opening life support systems for business. Careful. Satellite knows something is up. I'm showing extra resistance at the central hub.
I'm sure last time more enemies spawned each time I did that. Or maybe I'm remembering a different part of this encounter that looks very similar. Oh, thanks. Play the cutscene whilst I'm in the middle of a fight. Very good, that. Super helpful. No, not that. Destroy the barrel. Barrel's destroyed anyway. My 3 helpers here. Very impressive that anything on Earth can hack and reprogram Brainiac. Well, Brainiac's droids, I guess. Why did that happen?
Attacks.
Can't really say that those hacked incorporators were doing very much there. Didn't seem. There's another holo token around here somewhere. I mean, I'm not that bothered about getting all the holo tokens. I've already listened to everything that they have to say. The last time I did this on Blue Falcon? Blue Peregrine.
So much for 3. And docking bay beta is unlocked. That entire area is Brainiac loaded, so heads up.
Just noticed that the gun continues to fire even if you're pointing them upwards, which seems like an enormous waste. Like, part of the animation is you start firing looking down like that, and then it continues to make firing noises, and you get muzzle flash even with both guns are pointing upwards, which means the things are firing when they're off target and you're just like shooting at the ceiling or whatever, which seems kind of dumb. To be put in a ball like that. Look at this confused incorporator here. Having a fight with a tower. Or turret, I suppose. I wonder why, when he was taking over this satellite, he replaced all of the parts but kept the layout. And this is basically the same layout here as... where is it? Maybe it's concealed underneath here. But there was a section that had like 2 turrets and, well, the control panel was more like over here, but still. 2 turrets and a control panel and like curved section, like L-shaped, with ramps and doors and like a big window over here out to something else. Why, if he's Brainiacing it, would he not alter the layout as well?
Log entry. It's about time for T.O. Morrow to revolutionize chronotechnology.
Right, and this spawns a bunch of dudes, like more than the
security alarms have gone off. Keep those turrets activated. I'm on it.
But you still have to defend 4 turrets, or have them defend you. I'm not quite sure which way around that's supposed to be. I guess they're helping to defend me because they don't have a shield above them or like health bars that I can see. So obviously I'm not supposed to care about their health or status. They're just helping me. Pain in the Brainiac. Defeat 50 Brainiac dudes. Of course, that's not the technical language that the game uses. Killed 50 dudes, because that's what the feat was.
I expected. Hang in there.
More than 50, in fact. And I've still not quite filled out my XP bar. It's still got like 1 or 2% left. What the hell happened there? That was weird. Fucking, he's within range. Attack him. Another line of sight weirdness.
Alarm off. Bay doors open. Central core available to blow. Get in there and light this place up before the satellite realizes we're still here.
Core available to blow. What do you expect me to do?
Log entry. I, T.O. Morrow, will ensure this unique ore is properly used to imbue science with all 4 primary elements.
Only Western classical elements. I mean, I've gone over this probably the last time it happened, but... Four elements is only found in Greek classical Greek cosmology. Earth, air, fire and water. In, for example, Chinese elemental theory, well, classical elemental theory, there's 5 elements, and air isn't one of them.
Core data wipe in progress. Initializing prototype of key information parameters. Creating.
New objective. Terminate flawed organic prototype of this unit. Searching. Location found.
Why does a robot need to tap on a device in his hand?
Terminate flawed organic prototype of this unit. Searching. Location found.
Destroying the data core created a Brainiac robot Joker? Who's going to kill the real Joker? I'll bet money it's not going to stop there. Follow that robot to Arkham before it kills us all.
Yep, Arkham. Thought so. So, another location I have not experienced before.
Source generator logic and combat brain integration 10% complete. Basic combat actions ready.
Oh, this crazy robot thinks it's me! Kill it, would you?
Got a golf club. At least it's not a crowbar. That would be a bit...
Source generator advanced range combat installed. Integration 35% complete.
Oh, and now Brainiac's here too! Quick, use the terminal for my friends. I'd rather watch them.
Joker henchmen, not other famous inmates of Arkham.
Processing source generator. Error. Not logical. Error.
No, Brainiac can't send just one killer robot. Oh no. This is rigged. Use the terminal to watch it blow.
It doesn't heal you much for how much endurance it costs to cast. Logic brain in a Joker robot? Are you sure it's necessary?
Error. Cannot install source Joker data logic systems. Install errors destroying system. Major malfunction.
Well, it's about time. Get me out of this rig! It's wired to that console to zap me with a zillion volts! I've already had too much fun for one day.
Decide Joker's fate. Do I kill the Joker? Probably wouldn't kill him, would it? And I am the Joke Android 9000. I am here to serve the Joker. Alright. Let's free him.
Finally! Someone I can count on around here! I was beginning to think I'd have to kill everyone in Gotham on my own. You know, you're like the webtoon mutant child I never had. Keep it up, Junior. I may even leave you the family fortune! I love pain. I love suffering. I love dead puppies and killing jokes, crippled cops and great, big, giant explosion. I love twisting the bat up so tight you can hear his spine scream deep down inside. And now I have so many more delightful villains to play with. Why, I might not even kill some of you. I love being the Joker. And it's Joker here, playing all the hits of Amusement Mile. Here's one with a beat you can dance to.
Session 209670. Jeremiah Arkham dictating. Of all the criminally insane patients I've treated at Arkham, the Joker is the most intriguing. Is he, in fact, a maniac, sociopathic, delusional, psychopathic, chaos-obsessed murderer? Or has he passed beyond the constraints of normal human behavior into the realm beyond ordinary sanity? Medical note, the Joker is remarkably resistant to all the medication, including the military-strength sedative we've used on Killer Croc. We'll have to find some other means to break.
What so? That wasn't what you see classics. Harley, have you been messing with my music again? Oh, Harley.
Source data package digitized. Data now expendable.
Without discipline, all is chaos. Criminals are cowardly, superstitious, weak. I will disguise my terror and strike it into their hearts instead. I will never kill. I will never take away the possibility of a better future. But I will embrace the night. I will make it mine. I will become a bat.
Source data package digitized. Data now expendable.
Want to hear a joke? Just look at the pathetic notions of order and sanity, at the random pointlessness of human existence, at a world utterly off the hook. So why join them when you can beat them? Going crazy is the only sane response. Madness is just a single step over the edge. Then gravity takes over, and then when you laugh, the world laughs with you.
I disagree. I wonder... I mean, I assume the other option was to tap on this console rather than free the Joker. I wonder whether he wouldn't have escaped anyway and just been mad at you. I wonder whether you actually could have killed him there. I wonder whether you get similar choices for other backgrounds. I can't really be bothered playing through them all to find out, but I am curious. Not curious enough, but the question is still there.
Joker here. Gosh, that was fun, wasn't it? Don't let it stop now. There's so much else to blow up, ruin, and torment. Do me a favor. Find other little psychopaths to team up with and spread the pain. It's what I would do.
Well, other than teaming up. You don't really do teams, do you, Joker?
I knew when I first met you on that Brainiac ship that you'd do really, really awesomely terrible things. The Society is impressed, and that's not easy. You're summoned to speak with your mentor in the inner sanctum of the Hall of Doom. Don't keep them waiting.
Where's the nearest nightclub? Here we are. North Burnley. Right, we've run over, but that's fine. I was expecting that. Not quite as long as I was... this went longer than I was expecting. Didn't think it would go quite as long as that, but... oops. That's that ended. That will be the end of the DCUO streams, I think. I don't think there's anything else that I want to do with the game. So on Friday I will be moving on to one of 3 games. Still haven't quite made up my mind. Probably Kingdoms of Amalur, but it might be a different one. T.O. Morrow, welcome to the world of tomorrow. How you can say you've truly experienced the world until you've looked at it through the eyes. How you can say? How can you? I'm sure that should be how can you say you've truly experienced the world until you've looked at it through the eyes of science. These inventions you've gathered are not mere trinkets or curiosities, but pieces together to the greater whole. Using them, you could unlock such potential. Email continues beyond buffer size.
You need any goods, friend?
I'll try and find out independently whether it's possible to kill your mentor, and whether that's an option that all villains have in their final confrontation.
I have news for you, and no, it's no joke. The sociopath, psychotics, and greedy little masterminds of the society have made you an official member. Congratulations, I think.
Oh yeah.
This wasn't completely unexpected with all of the mutually beneficial work you've done for us. Welcome to the Society.
So now I can probably look at all of these. Hmm. 8th Precinct, Gotham Warehouse, Meta Research Wing, Joker's Funhouse. We've done all of these but Sentinels of Magic Citadel and Attack, Dr. Fate's Stronghold, and aid Brother Blood in draining the Ankh of Power. We haven't ever done that as part of the leveling up process. I mean, maybe you would if you were a magic villain. Maybe that would be the first or second of the magic only exclusive missions. That's Gotham University Warehouse. That's where you go and try and stop Black Adam and Felix Faust. Metropolis University, join Parasite to defeat Power Girl and acquire a sample of her Kryptonian DNA. So that's probably something you'd do if your background was meta. That's a mission you get whether you're hero or villain. That's head into Star Labs and defend Grodd from the Flash and the original Flash. Did I do that? I think I did. Yeah. Done that. So there's a bunch of these that are probably things that you would do as a villain. Cersei's Trial, Ages of Truth. So that's stuff that we've done already, and Spark of Parallaxes as well. So there is some stuff that's different in On Duty. But I'm not going to do any of it on stream, I'm afraid. If you really, really want to know what all of that is, you're welcome to play it yourself. I have not really enjoyed being a villain for this stream. I've been curious about how things are different, and this has satiated my curiosity. Briefing, punchline 4. Gotham Now news brief. Omac Centurion helmet, nice. Numerous technological malfunctions in Gotham City have plagued citizens tonight, as everything with an on switch seemed to momentarily go crazy. Reports that this disturbance was related to a Gotham Star Labs facility are as of yet unverified. For Gotham Now, I'm Vicky Vale. Yeah, okay, so that's it. I will be back on Friday, 8 PM, roughly, GMT. I will be playing either Kingdoms of Amalur, The Reckoning. Not Re-Reckoning, I don't have Re-Reckoning, just The Reckoning, the original. As far as I can tell, there's not a huge difference between the two anyway, and even if there is, I'm still not going to be bothered to buy the new one because I own the original. And as long as it's the same story and the original is still as pretty as it was when I first played it, that will be perfectly fine. The other options are Divinity 2 Original Sin or Hellgate London, which is a very old game. Well, not that old, but it's quite an old game, and all of them will be quite long. May come up with a sort of a roulette or flip a coin. Anyway, that's it for today. Who's this? Omega Stasis of the Phantom Zone. Okay. Goodbye.